The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary-related entertainment.
Here comes Santa Claus, riding down Santa Claus Lane. Blitzen, blitzen, all here's a reindeer pulling on a rein. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. Hang your stockings and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, riding down.
But in the meantime, here comes Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where you'll find us talking story with our Maui Nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs within our community. For those of you who thought you were in the wrong channel, you're not. You're right. During the holiday season, we play holiday music, and that, of course, was our old friend, Guess Who? First phone call we get with the right answer wins a prize, right, Gary?
For what? Who?
What?
What?
So who was it?
Elvis.
Unanimous decision.
Yes.
It was Elvis. Okay. And we'll do that every time, because during the commercials we do the same thing. We'll have two different sets of music. We'll ask the same question. Who was it? Have a little fun here today that kind of lighten the spirit, because we're talking some heavy-duty subjects for this Christmas time. As usual, the Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom located in the Waikapu Base Yard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today, we're going to start off the show talking with Danielle Bergen, who's the Maui Community Coordinator for Mental Health America of Hawaii, the Maui chapter. And in the second half of the show, we're going to be talking with Monique Yamashita. Hello, Monique Yamashita, who is the CEO of Kahale Akaola. Wow.
Good job. Kahale Akaola Homeless Resource Center.
There we go.
It's
Throw the whole thing in
Akaola.
there.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
It is. It is. And there's really no way to shorten it, is there?
Well, people have said Khako or Khao or Kahako. I don't prefer the Kahako. I prefer just to say the whole name. But it takes time. It took me a while to spit out all those names.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk more about that in your half hour.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to get back to Danielle. Last time you were here, you were, I think, acting coordinator.
I was. Yes.
And in the running for the job, and now you're here as the coordinator.
Community coordinator, yes.
So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I know that you wanted this job very badly, because it's near and dear to your heart, the cause that you're working for.
It is. I like to be able to be in a position where I can do anything I can to help the community. And what I found at Mental Health America of Hawaii, and working on Maui, is that it's so important to be able to be there to give people the guidance that they need. You know, a lot of the phone calls I get into the office is really people are just trying to figure out the myriad of services on Maui for mental health. So a big part of what we do is for me to listen to their story, be empathetic and understanding, and then do the best I can to point them in the right direction for the services they need. So we try to see, do you have insurance? Do you not have insurance? What's the situation? And then give best guidance for there. And that's I think it's a comforting thing for them to be able to know that they can call one or two or three places and then get going on what they need for services for them or their loved ones.
Gotcha. And there's so many different levels of service, I would think. Somebody who's just kind of feeling something's wrong
Sure.
in their life,
Yeah.
that's one level, but somebody who's actually maybe acting on that difference is another level.
Exactly. Some people have been diagnosed, some people haven't. There's always the access line that you can call, that will give you help right away. We have we have different groups that we work with and refer to, of course, like Mental Health Kokua and Maui Counseling Group and several others down the line. So, like you say, we try to do the best we can to get them in the right direction.
Now, are there other agencies that also work with mental health issues?
Oh, there's several on
Here?
island. Yeah, the couple that I just mentioned, but we don't actually, provide counseling services, or we don't provide medical services or things of that nature. So we do a lot of trainings. We have a couple trainings that we've been specializing in now. We just started a youth suicide and bullying prevention training. We trained about 15 people on island last June, and we're trying to get that into the schools. We're very concerned about the youth suicide rates and how they've gone up over the past few years. We also do a youth mental health first aid training, and that's actually statewide on all different islands, and that's through Project Aware. It's coordinated by C.J. Rice from the Department of Education. So we have, I think, 8 trainers of that on Maui, and we've done several community groups. We've opened it up to the public a couple times and had some big crowds for it. So, and with the youth suicide bullying prevention, we've only been doing that for about 5 months now. But my goal is to try and get it into the schools to do for middle school and for high school.
I see. Okay. And that's like taking it to the source.
Exactly.
They're the ones that are confronting this issue.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's some scary statistics out there. 1 in 10 kids in Hawaii in middle school have actually made a plan to take their life. They made a plan to take their life.
1 in 10?
1 in 10. And, a lot of our statistics are based on, information and surveys and everything that we've done in the last few years, locally and then nationally as well. And unfortunately, right now, in the state of Hawaii, youth suicide is the number 1 cause of death for a youth between the age of, I believe, 12 and 25. So we want to try to get in there and talk to these kids about bullying, talk to them about the effects of it, talk to them about suicide, and give them the tools, give them the ability to know what they can do if they're faced with that, because no one wants to have one of their friends lose one of their friends.
So in the mental health America's eyes, bullying is one of the leading causes of suicide.
Well, it's not. There's no causal effect.
Okay.
Actually, it
Okay.
raises the risk significantly.
Okay.
But and that's a distinction that you need to make. Is not
Okay.
a direct cause of it, but it does raise the risk of it. And then you have kids that are in the LGBTQ community as well, whose risks are that much higher.
I see.
Significantly higher than just for normal kids.
Right. Okay.
Quote unquote normal kids,
Tough.
right?
Yeah. It's tough to be a kid these days.
Sure it is. Sure, especially with everything going out there with cyberbullying and
Right.
and
24/7.
everything. Yeah, it's way different from when we were kids.
Yeah. You go to school, there may be a bully there that gives you a bad time. On the weekend, you can forget all about it because you don't see them or hear from them. But now you can hear from them
Yeah.
and see them. Mm-hmm. So let's get off of that. We don't want to
Okay.
talk about that. This is the holiday season.
Okay.
We want to talk about all the rest of us that are going to cause
Sure.
trouble for ourselves.
Exactly.
This is self-imposed stress and depression.
Well, a lot of it can be, yes. The holidays, they just present stress anyway. There's so much, we're bombarded by so much on television and the media, radio. You can't go any place. You go shopping, there's like all kinds of stuff, pressure to get presents and to do this and do that. And did you get this done? And did you get this done? And did you mail everything to the mainland? So it can kind of drive you crazy. So what I have here is just some tips that can help you prevent holiday stress and depression. So the first one is to acknowledge your feelings. If someone close to you has just recently passed away, or you can't be with your loved ones, know that it's okay to recognize those feelings. Know that it's okay to feel bad about it, to grieve about it, if you want to cry. I remember just growing up, right before Christmas when I was 10 years old, my grandfather passed away. And then I remember the next Christmas and how I wasn't quite sure on why I felt so bad right just before Christmas. And then I remembered after that, that's when my grandfather passed and I was close with him. So these are things that are okay to acknowledge. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to cry.
Growing up, I had I had 2 uncles and a cousin and a sister who all had birthdays the week of Christmas or leading up to Christmas. So it was a really great time. I mean, we started celebrating obviously the week before and went right through. As they got older and died, matter of fact, 2 of them died one year, everybody started like, what are we going to do the week before Christmas? It's like, we don't want to get together. We do want to get together. But instead of that excitement of it all, and are we giving presents that are for both their birthdays and Christmas, bigger stuff? Are we going to, we playing that game with it? There's a loss. I mean, there truly is a loss. And so you sit there and you go, okay, let's just kind of ignore it this year and see what happens. But you can't, because they've left spouses, they've left kids, they've they've left us. And as of 20 years ago, they were all gone.
Right.
And it's Christmas as a whole means something totally different now, because it isn't preceded by that fun, celebration of those birthdays.
And you can't force yourself to be happy.
Right.
I mean, it's just, there's so much pressure on it. So don't even try to go there. Don't even try to force yourself to be happy. Just go along with what your feelings are. And the most important thing is to know that you can always reach out and ask for help, whether it's professionally, if your sadness goes into a depression where you're feeling like this for a few weeks, know that it's always okay to ask for help. It's never a sign of weakness, really. It's almost a sign of strength.
Strength, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I would see it that way. The other thing, too, that I think that I realize after the fact is that I have moments during that week before Christmas when it's like things are just not quite right. But it's a moment, a passing moment.
Yeah.
And you don't realize what the cause of it is until later on when you go, well, of course that's what I was missing. And that doesn't go away.
Yeah, and you can, no, it doesn't. Those things will, those are life experiences that's going to stay with you, life and death. Death is such an important part of life. And those things, your first Christmas without a parent or your first Christmas without a loved one, they will be different. But there's other things and other ways that you can look at now as to, if you're feeling the way you feel, and then think about some of your friends or thinking about some of your relatives who might feel the same way, pick up the phone and call them.
Right.
Be grateful for the people that are still here in your life.
Right.
And, or, try to get out of yourself maybe. If you're feeling bad about the way things are going, you don't have the money to go out and buy presents, you don't have, anything to be able to do for others that you don't think you can, there's so many organizations you can call up and volunteer your time or services. For example, you could, like the Salvation Army's always looking for people to sit by their kettles, or you can go, to a group that's serving a holiday dinner or someone to someone and just, hey, can I help? Can I wash dishes? Can I do whatever?
Right.
You'll find that giving back and volunteering is going to make you feel a lot better just about who you are.
Exactly. Good points. Okay. So first thing is acknowledging your feelings.
Yeah.
Knowing what they are
and
why.
Then as we've kind of talked about, reach out, just about if you're lonely. And then things that be realistic. Be realistic about, things aren't going to ever be perfect. Families change and grows. We just touched on this. Traditions and rituals will change. Choose a few and keep them, or try to create new ones. If you can't have your adult children around in the house, get on the internet, get on Zoom or Skype or whatever, and give them a call or share pictures and emails and videos. Those are a way to keep families closer to you, right?
Right. As families, as children grow up and get married, start families of their own, they obviously have to start splitting their time with the other side of the family.
Yeah.
And that sometimes is a very hard thing for a parent to understand. Why can't you come for Christmas dinner at 4:00?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And you also see, sticking to a budget is so important too. You see some of these commercials on television where these people are getting these huge presents, and then they're it's all about money. It's all about spending. And realistically, People will get that bill, that credit card bill in January and go, oh my God, what did I do? Right? So try to stick to a budget.
Right.
Figure out what you can do and what you can afford. I know for me, for example, I've lived here this will be 40 years this year. And most of my family's on the East Coast, so I have to send presents and gifts to the East Coast. But sometimes I've gone and just, if I can't afford it, I'll go get gift cards and I can put them all in one envelope and send them because the cost of shipping is so much less, right?
Right.
And then for other friends and whatnot, there's been times when I haven't had a lot of cash and I'll bake cookies and brownies and I give those because it's something personal. It's something I made, with my heart, and this is for you, and enjoy.
That's right.
And don't blame me when you gain that extra 2 pounds.
And it's just for you. We've got to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Aloha, this is Paul from Pacific Source. We'd like to wish everyone the happiest of holidays and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and Lock and Tina folding doors. Maybe you can give your home a holiday gift that you'll love. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380 or look us up online at packsource.com.
Send to you from the land where palm trees sway. Here we know our Christmas will be green and bright. The sun will shine by day and all the stars at night. Melikilikimaka is Hawaii's way to say Merry Christmas.
In all the years we've been doing it, I don't think we've ever had that one on before. Very local style. Who is that?
It's a group called Go Jimmy Go.
Go Jimmy
Okay.
Go. All right. That's not a new one.
Never.
Who knows?
I don't think I've heard them before.
Yeah. Go Jimmy Go. Okay. It's an interesting one. I like that one. Okay, this is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our executive directors and staff and find out what they are doing to help those with needs. And as we go into the Christmas season here, we can all find ourselves in some area that we're talking about here with Danielle Bergen, who's the Maui Community Coordinator for Mental Health America of Hawaii Maui chapter. And I think, I really do, I think that almost everybody's going to find one of those things we talked about during the first half of the show hits them
Sure.
at one point or another.
One or two, or sometimes just all of them seem to resonate.
Right.
Well, we were going through the list and we're looking at some things. I think an important thing, too, is to set aside differences. Accept your family members as they are, and don't let them, don't let it bother you if they don't live up to your expectations. Set aside grievances until a more appropriate time to talk about it. Be understanding if they get upset or distressed about something, or if it goes awry. Chances are they're feeling the same stress and depression too that you might be feeling in the holiday. Also plan ahead. If there's certain days or certain holiday parties you're going to go to, or you need to have time for shopping or visiting, you can always plan your menus, plan your lists. Try not to wait till the last minute and let everything pile up. It's just going to stress you out more. And then also, along with this, the same thing, learn to say no. You're going to get invited to so many different parties. Oh, well, we're having this. Well, this will be at 3:00. Oh, you're supposed to go to one at 5. Well, you could probably make both, can't you? And, learn to like budget your time and say no. It's okay to say no. Right?
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine used to tell me that your yes doesn't mean anything, Danielle, unless you know how to say no. And I never realized that because I was always trying to please everybody.
Right.
So, and it's going to help you. It's, saying yes to everything is going to leave you, you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel resentful. People will understand if you can't come to certain events and certain things. And of course, with holiday parties and everything, there's cookies and goodies and brownies and all kinds of Christmas things. And, a lot of us, will put on that extra weight over the holidays and then be depressed in January. So, right? Think about eating healthy. If you're eating healthy now, continue to eat healthy. Have something to eat healthy before you go to a party so you're not going to eat so much. So you don't have to really change your habits and make it a free-for-all. Because overindulgence is only going to add to your stress and to your guilt. And I think most importantly, take a breather, right?
Right.
Relax, okay? Just save some time for yourself, right? I got home the other night and I have a roommate and she and I put up Christmas decorations and we had a good time and enjoyed it. And then I was just trying to chill from work. It had been a tough day and I finally just had made some dinner and then turned on the Christmas lights and I had the television on. And I said, I don't want that television on. I turned it off and just sat there and enjoyed the quietness and the beauty of just, what was there in front of me and enjoy the holiday. And it's okay, spend some time by yourself, 10, 15 minutes, anything you can do to reduce the stress, take a walk or listen to music, enjoy your lights, read a book. But above all is I think wrapping it all up, as we said kind of at the beginning, if you really feel that it's a depression, if you really feel you can't handle it, if you're feeling like, you're all alone and, it's just not worth it for you to be around, don't ever think that you can't call for help, right? Call for help. Call 911 if that's what you need to do, because nobody is alone or nobody has to be alone in this world, no matter what you think. There's always someone there to reach out to and to help you.
That's true. And it's and sometimes I think there's kind of I get two kinds of people who feel like they have to be doing something every minute, be a part of a group or whatever, and then there's those who like being alone, and alone has a different connotation to a lot of different people. You're alone because you want to be. And if you didn't want to be, you could be out there with a lot of people and doing things. Whereas truly being alone is a sign of something. Now, I'm not into mental health, vernacular, but how does one distinguish? I mean, do you know when you're alone because you want to be, or?
Well, I think there's, I've gone through times of my life where I felt a loneliness and where I felt that I'm not a part of anymore. I'm drifting away. Nobody really cares about me. So if you're really getting into those kind of being alones and feeling sorry for yourself, it's liable. And if it sticks around for more than a couple weeks, it's a sign of depression. You're clinically depressed. Okay, and that's normal stuff. It's very normal stuff for a lot of people. And a visit to the doctor, just telling them and discussing what help might be needed for you to do is always a good idea. The difference is sometimes I've lived alone at other times, and I enjoy my time by myself. I can read, I can write. I'm an avid writer. I like to do that. And when I do that, all of a sudden I look in the afternoon and the whole day is gone, right?
Right, yeah.
But you can be alone and enjoying the things you can do alone as well. And I think that's where the difference is.
Right. You're a published writer.
I am a published writer, and I'm actually 3/4 of the way through my second book.
Are you?
I decided that I was going to start writing a book again the month of November. I was going to try and write 1,500 to 2,000 words a day.
Yeah.
For the month, and I'm not finished with the book, but I almost made 50,000. It was like 48,000 words.
Cool.
16 chapters and I think 164 pages right now.
Well, I admire someone who can do that, because I sit down and start to write, and next thing I know, I've got a short story. I'd have to do a collection of short stories.
That's okay.
But I don't think that's a big seller, is it? Or short story?
No, well,
I mean, a
you know,
collection?
I don't really write to sell anything or to.
Oh.
I mean, if you can make money, that's okay. But the reason that I write or the reason that I do what I do is one, because I enjoy it, and two, I can help other people.
There you go.
That's the aim for me.
Oh, okay. Cool. So we have a list here of things that can happen, a list of things that we need to take into consideration over this holiday season to keep stress and depression out of our lives. And basically, it's just relax and enjoy it.
Yeah, and don't put those expectations out there. You don't have too many expectations. You know, are just going to lead to resentments, and you're not going to be happy then.
Yeah. Cool. Words to live by, especially over the next 3 weeks.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you, Danielle.
My pleasure, and happy holidays to everybody.
We will have you back on, and we'll talk about some of the things as you work your way through the bullying classes, getting those into the classroom, and it's just such a frightening thing to me. I mean, I don't know that I've ever experienced bullying, but maybe I did. You know, sometimes I think a little bit of it is how you react to it.
Sure.
If you don't know it for what it is, maybe you know, kind of get out of it somehow or another. But it just seems to be taking over. I mean, it seems like everybody I meet, it's either their kid is being bullied or their, you know, nephew or somebody. And it's scary. It really is.
It's a little more pervasive these days, and there's just so many more ways that are out there to
Well, I
do
think,
it.
and if we're talking about it, which is a good thing.
Sure. Talk is good, and then the whole thing about getting this training that we're doing into the schools is so the kids are aware. You know, some kids might not even be aware. There's kids that have been bullied, and there's kids that are the bullies. And then, you know, we don't know what happens, why those kids are the bullies. Maybe they are being bullied at home.
Right.
Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe it's learned behavior for them. So, but the whole thing is geared around to raising awareness and letting people know that there's help.
And that's what you're here for. And how can people get a hold of you if they want to talk?
They can call the office anytime. Our number's listed on the internet, and you can reach us at 808-242-6461.
Okay.
That's a direct office number to my office. I'm in and out, but a lot of the times I'll answer the phone and talk, and if it goes to the message, I get back to everybody. I make it a point to try and get back to everyone within 24 hours. So
Great.
no matter what, if it's just for directions or trying to figure out what's going on, or you just need to talk story about the holidays and depression or whatever, feel free to call.
Great. Okay, again, that phone number is 242-6461. Danielle, thank you, and happy holidays to you.
Yes, thank you, Susie.
Appreciate it. Okay, second half of the show. Gosh, it was fast. I don't know what happens here. Monique,
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Susie.
how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Have you got a full house?
We do. We always have a full house, except in our men's dorm. We always have some beds left over if there's any single men who need shelter.
Ah,
Yeah.
what? Is there a reason for that? They just don't come in?
There's all kinds of reasons why someone may choose not to come into shelter. Some people may not care for the communal living environment. And I want to backtrack a little bit because I think there's quite a bit to celebrate. And I'm just so thankful that Danielle was here to talk to us about some of the triggers and some of the things that happen to people during this stressful time, because it can be very stressful at this time of the year. But the fact that Danielle's here and Mental Health America is available, and we have so many amazing organizations on our island that can help people when they're going through a difficult time. I can just tell you, I'm extremely proud of us and happy that we have a place that we can offer to someone who's struggling with homelessness. And we know that one of the factors that can contribute to homelessness is mental health issues. And if someone doesn't have the support and the services, or if they're not taking the medications that they need, they may end up homeless as well. So I'm thankful that Danielle's here, and I'm just thankful for all the community members that we have, or community organizations to help. And so we do have shelter that's available. We have shelter that's available to single men, single women, and families, or couples that come in. And you asked me why someone may not want to come in. Again, it goes back to if they don't want to be in that communal living environment, they just may want to be on their own. They may want to have control of their environment. one of the things that we're celebrating this year is that we've gone through quite a bit of changes, and that we've actually lowered our barriers for people to enter our shelter. And when I say lowered, what I mean is we don't drug test anyone, we don't check for alcohol use. Someone doesn't have to have an income to come into our shelter, because there are those who are homeless, but they're underemployed. And they may not have enough funds to actually rent a place. So we've lowered our barriers quite a bit, and we just take people for where they're at. We've also reduced the way someone can come into shelter. So they really only need 3 things: homeless verification, an ID, and at one point they would need to get a TB test. So they don't have to have that to come in, but within the first week we would ask them to get a TB test, and that's all they need.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really significant, and I'm super happy that we're here. And anytime I walk through the cafeteria and I see our residents eating in the cafeteria and we feed people who are hungry, I'm always just filled with awe that we're able to help someone that way.
What kind of numbers are we talking about in the sheltered housing? Now you've got a couple different facilities within the center.
We do. So we actually have 2 facilities on the island. We have our shelter in Central Maui, which is on Waiale Drive, and that's our largest facility. And we have 7 buildings. We have 72 units that are 2-bedroom and studio units, and we have our dormitory space as well. So we can house men and women in that facility. And then on the west side, on Ipu Amakua Lane, we have our other shelter, and it's a little bit smaller. We have 48 units on the west side, and we also have the same configuration for dormitory space for our men and single females in that place. And we can house up to 1,200 people between the 2 facilities on a given night. So it's quite a bit that we can help.
So you can help one night, or
Well,
once they come in, they usually spend some time.
When you talk about the average length of stay, so we will have a single individual that may stay for about between 60 and 90 days.
Okay.
And then we have our families who in our transitional shelter, and they may stay anywhere from 4 to 6 months. And really what our emphasis is to help them get housed, because we know, and the national model is that we want to get people housed, and that's how you're going to end homelessness.
Right.
So we've really changed much of our emphasis. We used to do a lot of life skills training. We brought many other agencies to our facilities to offer services and counseling to our residents. And what we found, and what actually nationally what they found when we look at the Housing First model, and I can answer any questions about that, is that it's better to connect our residents to assistance out in the community. So once they leave our facility, they still have those connections. For example, I can even speak back to Mental Health America. We had staff from Mental Health America that would come in and offer services. But what's the better thing to do is to connect our residents to Mental Health America out in the community. So once they leave, they still have that relationship established, and they can use that as their support system. So they have that network to help them stay housed, because that's also the other issue, that we want to ensure that they stay housed.
So then you're totally focused on helping them to be able to save up the money to go out and rent their own place, and get out on their own 2 feet, so to speak, with that support team that you've introduced them to, but not worked on while they were there.
Correct. So we really do work with them to help them increase their income, to help them get the employment that they need. The other service, which I'm very thankful for, is our rental assistance program that's actually funded through the county of Maui. And I always give them thanks, because I can't tell you how helpful that is for our residents to be able to get the assistance to come up with a security deposit. We're actually not the only agency that has it. There's other agencies on the island that have rental assistance program funds as well, and it really is very helpful. But we definitely help them to get the increased income that they need.
Well, with the rents going up as much as they have, I'm sure being able to pay the monthly rental is tough enough, but to come up with double that so that they can pay the deposit is almost impractical and impossible.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that housing money is very important. Now, is that something that you do, is there a sliding scale on that, or is it a one-time only?
It depends on each agency.
Okay.
So some agencies will offer security deposit and rental assistance. Some will offer a subsidy for maybe 3 months, 4 months. It really depends on the agency and the person's circumstances.
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay. Gary says it's time for another break.
All right. Okay.
Here we go.
Aloha, this is Paul from Pacific Source. We'd like to wish everyone the happiest of holidays and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and Lock and Tina folding doors. Maybe you can give your home a holiday gift that you'll love. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380 or look us up online at packsource.com.
Is that you, Santa Claus? Gifts I'm preparing for some Christmas sharing, but I pause because hang in my stocking, I can hear a knocking. Is that you, Santa Claus? Sure is dark out.
Louis Armstrong.
Ain't the slightest spark out on my
That's great.
Louis Armstrong, huh? So go Jimmy Go and Louis Armstrong.
So peppy.
We're having some interesting music here today.
Retro.
Yeah,
Is it retro?
Exactly. You don't hear this anymore. Yeah, nobody does it like they do. Okay, so I see what you're talking about, the changes that you've made, and with the emphasis on getting them out of the shelter and into their own homes. It makes a lot of sense.
It really does make sense. When you talk about the housing first model, and what that is that you place someone into housing and then you give them the wraparound services that they need or that they want to help them stay housed. For
Right.
example, we have placed, I was going to give you a little bit of numbers because we've actually done quite well to house our residents. And since February of this year, we've housed about 145 individuals from our central facility, and from our west side facility, a little bit over 75 individuals and families who have been permanently housed.
Wow.
So not only do we get them into housing or help them get into housing, I really like to give them the credit because they have to look for that from the time they come into our shelter to the time they're housed. But we actually have housing retention specialists to help them stay housed. So that person will work with the tenant and the landlord and anything that they need in between to help kind of bridge that gap in communication so that they can stay housed. It's really phenomenal. And I believe in the model. I think it's worked. It's worked with veterans in Utah. So it's well established in research that it works.
Well, and there was something out that said something about if you give a family a roof over their head, a permanent roof over their head, everything else follows.
Right. Exactly.
From that, they can work better. They can they get better grades in school. I mean, the whole thing.
Sure,
just
it goes back to a hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Like what is someone's needs? So the basic needs is to have some type of shelter that keeps them safe.
Right.
And it means a lot, and it makes a difference in people's lives.
Wow, 200 and some families you've helped since February?
Since February, yes.
That's great. Wow. Now, obviously this takes a lot of coordination and a lot of different people with different skills to put this all together. So, I mean, are we talking staff? Are we talking volunteers?
Oh, my goodness.
What do we got?
I tell you, I have so many people to thank, especially this time of the year. The community is just amazing. Even from Thanksgiving, Lahaina Town Action Committee on the west side, they had a Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless and hungry, and I was there, and I got to be a part of it. And I'm just thrilled by our community. The west side really takes care of themselves. They are an amazing community. And then even at our central facility where we have, what we have all year long is we actually have people that come in and sponsor a meal in our cafeteria to feed our residents, not only in Central but also on the west side. And these are dedicated volunteers that I don't see half of them, but they just are always coming and they're always picking a night, and our calendar is usually filled every evening by our community sponsors who want to come in and feed and serve our residents. So just amazing support.
So now, can that be like a company that the employees all get together and come down and work one night?
Sure.
Or a church group?
It can be a church group. We've had families where it's been a mom, a dad, and 2 or 3 of their children, and they bring the food in and then they serve and they help clean up. Service organizations like Rotary Club, we have the Lions Club, schools, Kamehameha schools. We just have just so many community members, and I really just want to thank them so much and just tell them thank you and keep coming. And they're unsung heroes, and they don't do it for the thanks.
Right.
So they're awesome. Christmas toys are another just amazing phenomenon that our community continually makes sure that not only our residents at our shelter, but any of our community children in need are given toys for this Christmas time. And that, talk about resiliency and networking and really reducing the stress for families, because you can imagine those who are in poverty, they don't have the money to go out and buy presents, but we have our community members that offer that. And again, they don't ask for thanks. They just say, here, we're going to offer these presents. Can you give them to the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. One other, I want to thank a motorcycle crew, Bad Island Crew. They come every year to our shelter. Every year they come to these motorcycles roll up and it's loud and they bring all these presents for the kids. And I just think they're phenomenal. So I want to thank them as well.
Cool.
Yeah. There's just so many people to thank and, I keep saying it over and over, but that's because I believe in it.
Well, it's just, and some of the stuff is year round. I mean, it's not just at Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right. Yeah. Like the dinner sponsors, that's year round. But around this time of the year, there's many more people that come out. Easter, we have a lot of agencies and individuals that come and do donations and volunteer as well. So our community is just amazing. Maui is so nokoi. There's no kidding.
And without this, you couldn't afford to do it.
No, we wouldn't. We don't have the funds.
Feeding all these people.
We actually could. We could do it. We have the funds to do it. But the fact that the community members come in actually is a cost savings for us. One of the areas that we struggle with the most is operations of the facility. So we don't charge electric to our residents. They do pay a very nominal program fee, but that's to help them invest as well in their program and then to help us cover the cost. It's $5 a day is what we charge, and that's for individuals or family. But the fact that we have community members coming in and sponsoring dinners, it's kind of an offset on the cost. It helps. It's not enough, but it's still amazing.
Right.
But yeah.
So there was a garden or something that
Yes.
was planted.
Yep.
Is that still going?
We do. We have our garden on the backside of our central facility, and we have amazing volunteers that come in every single week. And they're so dedicated and motivated, and they love working with the family and the kids. And we still need more volunteers because we're reconfiguring the garden on some level where we're going to look at fruit trees and really look at something that's a little bit more sustainable and not as high maintenance. For example, tomato plants. They might need a little bit more love and care. But our garden volunteers, Grow Some Good has helped us with our garden, and we have very dedicated volunteers that help.
So now, when you talk about these are outside volunteers who come in
Yes.
and work with the folks who are staying at the shelter and teaching them how to grow things and do their own gardens when they get their own places.
Right, and some of it is just family strengthening. So you bring the family together, get them outside of their unit, they come together, they work together, and again, it's a different type of investment where they're growing plants and they get to see the fruits of their labor most often. And so it is family strengthening, and it's a way for someone to invest and feel better about themselves, that they're adding to the community.
And what happens to what they grow?
Well, they get to eat it.
They do?
Yeah, they get to eat it. We get to share it amongst all the other residents on the property.
Cool.
So we're bringing it into our cafeteria.
That's neat.
Susie, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about too is Hale Makana o Waiale. So those are our affordable housing units that we have in Wailuku on Waiale Road, 200 units, and we actually have units on the west side as well. We have 32 bedroom units. So I want to make sure people know about that because when we look at ending homelessness and housing people, we actually contribute to that as well, where we have our affordable housing. And if anyone is interested in applying for Hale Makana or our West Side Affordables, they can look on our website and we can give them the information that they need to apply for those units.
Okay, now what's the details of, or kind of details of how you get in, how long you can stay, what?
So Haleakala, you would have to be low income and low to medium income to qualify.
Okay.
And once you qualify and you're certified to enter into the unit, you come in and you stay there as long as you abide by the lease agreement, pay your rent on time, abide by lease agreement. You can live there a long time, many
really?
years. Yes.
Okay. So it's definitely not a short-term thing.
It's not short term. It's actual permanent housing. And when we look at permanent housing, we mean permanent. You can stay there as long as you can, as long as you want to, as long as you're abiding by the lease agreement.
Okay. So what's the typical reason for leaving? Are they
Um,
earning more money? Have they gotten to the point where they make too much money?
Sure, yeah. Some people maybe they want to purchase their own home, or they don't want to be in that, because it is a lot of apartment units, so it's a close living facility. You have your neighbors right there next to you. Some may want to go and move into a house, single family unit, dwelling. Some may earn enough income where they can move out and get a different place, a larger place. But I tell you, our units are very spacious. They're really nice. So I'm always in awe of them. But that might be why someone wants to leave.
Is there there's some openings now?
We actually still have a wait list, but our wait list has significantly decreased. So it's probably about a year and a half as our wait list.
Okay.
So unfortunately, that is the norm all across the island, where
Right.
wait lists are pretty long.
And I just keep watching these rates that people are charging for rentals. It's crazy.
It
Absolutely
is.
crazy.
We've actually had to get pretty creative when it comes to helping house our individuals from our shelter. So we've had say two single men might share a room to rent, which is small quarters, but that's a way to get them housed. And if they agree to it, so you do have to get creative and look at different ways to house people than we ever have before. The idea of one person being maybe in a 1-bedroom unit or a 2-bedroom unit probably isn't just going to happen.
Right.
Danielle spoke about that too when we talk about how much rents are.
Right. It's just I don't see any return to I'm going to say sanity when it comes to rents.
I don't know about rents, but I do know that there's actually been an increase in the affordable housing units that have been built. So Kulamalu is one that's upcountry. I know they still have units available. So if someone's interested in applying for the Kulamalu units, I think they can talk to Halimaha'olu. And then even for our facility, we're actually going to take one of our buildings and convert it into permanent supportive housing for the chronically homeless. So we got a grant from the state legislature. It's a grant and aid for $705,000 to convert one of our buildings. So that will actually be 16 units, but likely it will go to 20 units, studios and 2 bedrooms. And so that also is an increase in the capacity of affordable housing.
So what the entry word is chronically homeless?
There's quite a bit of funding available for those who are chronically homeless. And there's a formula for those who are chronically homeless. They have to be homeless for a certain amount of time. They have to have a disability. So there's a formula that HUD has put out. But I know for us, we want to reserve that permanent supportive housing for our chronically homeless individuals on Maui.
Interesting. Okay, so they don't have a whole lot of hope of being able to get a really good job and move on.
They likely won't be able to work in the regular labor force. Likely they will have either maybe some veterans assistance funds. They may have Social Security. So maybe at some point, but initially when they first come in, that's not likely, as far as I know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll hear somebody say, "Oh, they don't want to be in an apartment or living under a roof. They like the open sky, or they like being on the beach, or they like being in the park." What do you say to that?
I think initially they may feel more comfortable in that place because if they've been in it quite a while, they know how to master it. They know how to navigate through that environment. But when they start working with social service agencies, I really do believe once they get housed, they're much more comfortable, and it's a better living environment for them. And I do believe they appreciate it more. And it's what they might. I think it's what they really do want. But it's also comfortable to be in the environment that you've been in for years. And it's very scary to move into something new. Any of us, change is hard for any of us.
That's right. That's right.
So
they've just kind of accepted that fact and used that then as their
yes.
Their guiding light or force, if you will, that, I like it out here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But reality says you don't, really.
Right. I would say, and they're vulnerable, and once they start working with someone, I believe those thoughts change. And they also have to feel valued. I believe that those who are homeless or unsheltered don't feel very valued. And even when we bring them into our shelter, we want to make sure that they have the dignity is intact, that they have value, that they know they have value. Like, they deserve housing. They deserve to eat.
Right.
If they're hungry, go and eat. We're not going to ask any questions about that.
Or the idea of shifting gears and putting their lives in somebody else's hands to help them change their life is scary.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And
That's
so just
vulnerability.
saying we like it the way it is a way to rationalize doing what you're doing.
And again, they may not feel they deserve housing, but they do. It's a right.
Right.
Housing should be a right. I wanted to also mention real quick, I know we don't have much time, but even we're looking at what we might do in South Maui. So we've been working with the South Maui community for ideas and feedback as far as how we can get involved in that community. And they've been phenomenal and given us a lot of feedback as well.
Cool.
Yeah, because we actually have some funding that's available. We might be able to build some type of facility on the south side in Kihei. And so the community's done really great to give us the feedback as far as what they envision for their community.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What number should people call if they have general questions?
General questions, they can call 242-7600. That's our central facility number, but no matter what, they can call that number. On our west side facility, they can call 662-0076.
Okay. Sounds
And
good.
if someone's looking for shelter services, they can call 242-HOME, HOME, which is 242-4663. So that's our direct intake line for the shelter.
Okay. Excellent. Monique, thank you so much.
Thank you, Susie.
All positive.
Yes. Yeah, we have a lot to be thankful for this year.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And everybody talks about a negative world. I don't think so. I think there are some answers out there. We just have to stick together, work together.
And I would encourage anyone who has questions, call the different agencies that are out there. There's a lot of agencies on Maui that will help people if you need it.
Right. And it's not that there's duplication of services. There's different reasons for these different agencies
That's
offering
correct.
what they offer.
Absolutely. And I think if you call one and you weren't sure what you need, they will direct you to the place that you do need to go to.
Right.
Danielle and I are both a part of the Maui Homeless Alliance. There's many, many organizations through the Maui Homeless Alliance, and we know that they're there to help.
Right. Very good. That's encouraging words as we go into the holiday season here. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Danielle, for being here today.
Thank you, Susie.
Thanks, Susie.
Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way. Hello, there comes the music already. To see how they can help you with your building project. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's purpose is to provide an opportunity for nonprofit agency directors to gain personal and professional support through cooperative development activities. Whoa, I'm racing just like the piano player. Duh, gotta quit that. Maybe I should stop talking and just listen to the music, huh? Should I do that? No, well, let me give this closing comment. We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Hey, don't forget to join us again next week right here, same time, same place, when we'll feature representatives of 2 other member agencies of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great week, everyone. Happy holidays. Aloha.